Good morning, Kingswood House parents, and welcome to this week's Headmaster's blog. It's Friday the 4th of December, and as you can see, I'm recording this from my own home as opposed to being in school. The reasons for that are only too apparent. On Wednesday, Mr. Clark was confirmed with our first meaningful case of COVID-19 within the school community. And upon lots of information and liaison with the necessary public offices, it was determined that myself, Mr. Sukdeo, and indeed a number of other staff had to go and self-isolate, as well as several classes and a few extra individual pupils with whom it was felt presented a low-risk scenario. I would just like to emphasise how proud I am of our collective school community. Literally overnight, we have managed to revert to blended learning. And from a teacher's perspective, this presents the worst possible outcome. When you have everybody in front of you at the school, it's straightforward. When you have everybody at home, it's still now relatively straightforward. When you have this hybrid situation of some people being in the school and some people being out of the school, and when you compound that with some of the teachers teaching pupils at the school and some of them working from home and some of them teaching others who are at home when they're at school, it all adds up to a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. Because whatever planning one puts in place, you just don't know exactly how many people are going to be affected. Mr. Mitchell, I have to say, has done yet again a sterling job in putting together the necessary pieces of that jigsaw so that we are able to start the online provision as seamlessly as we might. So everybody has continued with their normal timetable of online teaching and learning or in person within the school. It has caused, obviously, a lot of extra work for those people who are still at the school, and I think that it's just worth pointing out that we have got fantastic community spirit here. We are looking at members of the study centre coming in and sitting in supervising classes whilst they're being taught by teachers at home. It's members of our marketing and admissions team as well as LSAs. And whilst they are not obviously taking or teaching the lessons, most of them are qualified to do so, incidentally. They are having absolutely brilliant time getting to know the boys in a different context, and that brings me on to them. What fantastic young men they are. Without any exceptions, within the school community in Epsom or within the confines of their own homes, I am so proud of the way that our pupils have responded to this situation. They've been immensely grown up. I'd like to commend especially the Year 5 boys, who must have been a little bit shocked and surprised when they were asked to go home so suddenly, but they showed real maturity and their values have shone through. The teachers, Mrs. Seaver, Miss Forbes, are so proud of them, and I've just joined them in their registration periods this morning, and of course, yes, it is a bit of a novelty, but they are still intent on making sure that those lessons next week are learned and they're putting in place the values of the Kingswood House Way even online. It is great to see. I know that in Year 6 there's a number of boys also at home. I haven't managed to get around to seeing you yet, but I will join you for registration, I hope, one morning next week to see how you are all getting along as well. So all in all, and I've said this before and I will say it again, I do believe that when you are presented with a difficult situation, it's an opportunity for the best people and the best organisations to shine. And whilst it's not always possible, I really do believe that Kingswood House has yet again excelled itself in the face of adversity, and we can draw some really good silver linings from it. I think about the way that we're using Microsoft Teams. It's probably here to stay. I'm not saying it's going to supersede, obviously, lessons in person, but it is such a great fallback and such a great way for us to hold internal meetings, internal monitoring. I've just been in on an English class with 10H, for example. It's really, really exciting. And secondly, I do believe that the School Cloud app for the Parents' Evening has also been a terrific success. I know that in spite of all of the other things going on, the Year 8 Parents' Evening in the last few days have run very, very smoothly. And that again is a real step forward, and we are very hopeful that we will now put on additional form teacher meetings every single term using this app, which I believe will help the teachers keep to time. It will help us structure the organisation, and from your point of view as parents, it means you're getting that extra interface, but without having to give up probably the better part of an hour round trip to come into the school and then go home. This is not going to replace face-to-face meetings, of course. They will always still exist when the school site is open for business as usual. But I do think that for organised parent events, it's hard to beat the simplicity of the School Cloud app. It's been a great addition so far this term. So lots and lots of positives that we can draw from a negative situation. First and foremost, of course, our thoughts are with Mr. Clark. I am pleased to say that although he has had a pretty rough time, he is feeling a bit better, and he is hopeful that at some point next week he will be back online to deliver his classes and pick up his upper prep responsibilities. But we are not rushing him back. We have everything in place. I will keep you updated in that respect, and I'm sure that you will all join me in wishing him a very, very speedy recovery. I'm now going to move on to this week's mentions in dispatches. Please be aware that these predate Wednesday, so these were nominations that were received up until last Tuesday evening, and I'm sure that we will have plenty of relevant contextual mentions in dispatches for next week's newsletter and next week's commentary, but obviously the boys will find out about those in their assembly next Wednesday. So these mentions in dispatches predate the situation from Wednesday, but nonetheless there's some fantastic examples of our values and evidence, and I'd like to share them with you now. Well done to Zane, who's worked really hard to meet the school's respect targets. He's been holding doors open and been incredibly polite. Mrs. Lambert has noticed that. Kieran Pantlin has done some great work in science. Mrs. Marskin is very pleased with you. Sebastian Phillips has written a super set of instructions on how to build a settlement. He also self-assessed his own work and thought about what he might do better next time. Brilliant metacognition, Seb. I'm so pleased to hear that. I think you can come and collect a sticker or a badge from me when I'm back in school. Well done to all of Lower Prep. Year 5 also. You've done some brilliant polymer clay work last week with Miss Roots. You demonstrated respect, determination and heaps of creativity when you designed your own tessellating tiles. Gosh, that's a mouthful to say. I am super excited to see what the Year 6 and 11 boys will come up with over the next week. And Miss Roots, I'd like to thank you for all of the time that you've put aside for that project. Some of the evidence you'll see in the newsletter is really, really beautiful, so well done. Zach Willans has been nominated, as has Lucas Christie, in particular for their work in that part of the maths enrichment by Mrs. Seaver and Miss Forbes, so well done to you boys. Lauti Yasnikowski and Darren Usa have been very polite. Tristan Bush, Dylan Newman and Jackson Worth have shown real commitment to get their prepping on time. Well done to you. Rex Treadwell's been nominated for acting with a lot of respect and good manners, holding the doors open for the class and indeed for Miss Patel as he exited from Langland. So well done to you, Rex. I'm very pleased to see that. Tristan Bush and Jason Shee for good work in French, great participation and good knowledge of the topic from Madame Swift. In 6S, the whole form has made a really notable effort to line up, start lessons quietly, as per one of our targets for the week. Well done to you from Madame Swift. And Year 6 Mathematics, Benji Schumacher, Alex Wang, Josh Draper and Izyan Siddiqui all deserve a well done. They performed in the regional heats of the annual Quiz Club, which is not to be sniffed at. This is a very, very prestigious competition. The structure of the quiz was a bit different to other years as it's moved to being online, and the pressure of seeing some of the very alpha schools in the country getting asked is just a microsecond faster to them led them to rushing and making a few mistakes. Nonetheless, they finished 19th out of 41 schools, which is no mean feat. And they are only 300 points behind the winning team, which in the context of that quiz is not a lot. So boys, you have really held up the school brilliantly there. Well done to you. Ian Shafiq in 7BA has been credited for his positive attitude and hard work by Mr. Barrett. Josh McCrossan, well done to you for great work in history. Mrs. Hornsetter has said that you have been fabulous. Well done, Josh. And Arlo Saywell has been nominated for great work in art and really lovely use of colour by Mrs. Wraith. Arlo, well done to you. In 7BL, Dylan Bishop's been volunteering to clean up different classrooms around the school. He's been giving up his own time in break to do this. Well done to you, Dylan. What a fabulous young man you're turning into. And Henry Trinar, during form period, has taught all of his form how to play a new game. He explained it very clearly. Miss Black is beginning to wonder whether Henry has the potential to be a teacher in the making. Interesting stuff. 7P, Krishan Idris, well done to you for being so kind towards your peer group and ensuring that everyone was included during a football game. That is really good to hear, Krishan. I love to hear that inclusivity. And Michael Sargis, well done to you, simply for walking back through our doors. Michael left at the end of year 6 and very pleased to see that he has rejoined the school on Wednesday into 7P. And Michael, you are a charming young man. We are absolutely thrilled to have you back at Kingswood House. And although I haven't managed to see you in person yet, as soon as I'm able to be back on site, I will come and say a personal hello to you. Into year 8, Ollie Ward, great consistency with his efforts across the board. A much improved second half of term so far from Mr. Lordy. Charlie Leonard, well done to you for a good maths result from Mr. Barrett. 8T, Stuart Coleman, Max Horsting and Bogdan Podobrigora, well done for good results in recent French assessments. Commendations for the latter two, who started French only last year and have made stellar progress. Forgive the pun, Madame Taylor. Zachary Fitzgibbon, well done to you. Another act of kindness here. He went down to Lower Prep to donate a brand new toy car which he had bought for his sister. His sister didn't particularly like it, so he thought that the year 1s and 2s would love to play with it, and indeed they are. Thank you for your generosity from Mrs. Lambert. Into maths again, Miss Root's very impressed with how all of the 7s and 8s have managed during the last week's assessments. Well done. Behaviour and commitment worth noting. Year 9 have had a very busy week with their business and enterprise presentations and then their enterprise fair on Tuesday. Mr. Hendry and Mr. Twinney would like to say well done to all of the boys for your work in that respect. Some great efforts. And Mr. March would like to say well done to Max Garrett for his work in English. Theo Venzlar Pelly's been nominated by Mr. Barrett for improved attitude, as has Luca Wintle for working on his pace in lessons, which is getting steadily more productive. And Alfred Lewis, well done to you too. Improved focus and faster pace with your workbook as well from Mr. Barrett. Well done also to James Kin, who has never learned French before starting here at KHS recently. He studied it over the summer with his mum in advance of joining us, and he now achieved the highest score in his class in last week's assessment. Unbelievable effort from you, James. That is definitely worthy of a sticker or a badge, so come and see me please when I'm back in school. Mrs. Hornstetter would like to say well done to 10H for being calm and respectful during registration and looking out for each other. And in particular, Ellie Dawson, this is another mention for you, Alistair. Miss Black has noticed that you walked into the science lab and saw that someone else had come in before you with muddy shoes, and without being asked, just cleaned it up. I think that's brilliant, Alistair. I am super impressed with you at the moment. Keep it up. Well done to Ed Bolton, who has been nominated by Mrs. Weston for a Kingswood Houseway badge for respect. Edward is always tolerant and kind and understanding of others, and you can come and collect a badge from Mr. Mitchell as soon as you are aware of this in the newsletter, please, and I will say well done to you when I'm back. Into year 11, Ollie Taylor, well done to you. You've been showing really good endeavour by attending extra GCSE clinics to improve your work, notably in DT from Mr. Bailey, to Suyun Lee for good computer science homework from Mrs. Webb, and in general, Mrs. Wraith is pleased that 11W is showing perseverance and hard work ahead of their mocks in January. So parents, you'll see that in spite of a very rigorous week, one that has certainly taken its toll in terms of time and effort, there is still plenty of great news to celebrate. We go into this weekend knowing that the week ahead is going to present further logistical challenges, but you can be assured we are absolutely on top of it. There should be no let up in the teaching or the learning, whether it's online at home or in the school, delivered by a teacher in person or online. Everything should be working very, very seamlessly in order to help the continuity of focus and purpose in the penultimate week of term. And of course, on Monday the 14th, we welcome back everybody, myself included, to reunite our school community. We'll be having Christmas lunch at an appropriate social distance across Monday and Tuesday. The kitchen staff have been working incredibly hard to prepare that. And we will wear Christmas jumpers through Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday on the last week of term to make sure that we finish with a festive flourish. Have a great weekend.